Free life lesson. Pick your battles. Well, because if you don't, you may end up with no legs. That's really the lesson of today's video, and one that many land animals have had to learn. Buckle up, kids. It's going to be wild, from a 3,000-pound plus battle to a battle of the big cats. Let's take a look at 15 times land animals messed with the wrong opponent. Number 15, rhino versus bull. As humans, we know that just about any heavy animal with horns is a risk to our life. But what do they think about one another? Well, if this video is anything to go by, they're not all that crazy about one another. Let's see what happens when angry bull meets a PO rhino. The match begins as you'd expect, with both animals locking horns and refusing to back down. But unfortunately for the bull, the rhino has a lot more mass and power to lift and push back its opponent. In fact, it doesn't take long at all for the rhino to get the bull on its back. Of course, this only makes the bull more determined to get up and finish the job. Eventually, the bull seems to recognize that the rhino will win no matter what he may be able to do. In the animal kingdom, mass always wins. While this fight doesn't occur much in the natural animal kingdom, there's absolutely no question that the rhino would win every single time against the bull. Sure, they both have some anger issues, but the rhino has all that mass. It's like when a normal-sized human attempt to take on Schwarzenegger in a movie. Number 14, lion versus tiger. You probably know an awful lot about both the lion and the tiger, but which one is stronger? The answer may surprise you. While the lion is heralded as the king of the jungle, they're really nothing compared to the sheer ruthlessness and strength of the tiger. And here's some proof. This video shows the matchup between a Bengal tiger and an African lion. And it's probably not the kind of thing you'd expect. When we think of tigers and lions, we think of composed and careful hunters sneaking up on their prey and subduing them. However, in this video, what we see is a much more free-form and aggressive grudge match unfolding on the ground before our very eyes. It's dirty, it's brutal, it's really something. Whichever one of them started this fight, it's immediately clear that they misjudged the whole thing. While the tiger is the stronger one of the two, there's no real sign of either animal coming out on top. In fact, it seems that every time the tiger manages to subdue the lion, the king of the jungle just frees himself and begins lashing right back. So who won? Mufasa or Shere Khan? Feel free to drop a comment down below. Number 13, leopard vs warthog. The laws of nature clearly state that the predator and prey will remain locked in a never-ending combat for good and evil, determined by a series of cards known as Yuki. Oh, no, wrong topic. This is a fight between a warthog and a leopard, right? Got it, my bad. When this leopard decided to pounce upon a warthog, I doubt it ever considered the possibility of anything going wrong. After all, it's a warthog, but of course, no prey animal wants to go down without a fight. And as the warthog struggles and screams, things take a turn. After a period of spinning and flipping, the leopard appears to have gained the upper hand until, of course, a hyena comes to disrupt the leopard's enjoyment, chasing the predator away and allowing the warthog to run free into the wilderness. Well, that interrupts. Well, right. This matchup should have been unimaginably easy for the leopard. Taking down a warthog is basic Predator 101, but a rogue hyena's simple intervention disrupted the whole thing. I guess the lesson here is simple. Do not mess with hyenas or wardrobes or leopards for that matter. Basically, just stay indoors. Number 12, zebra versus lion. Zebras, like many other gentle animals, tend to be among the most popular prey for opportunistic predators. But zebras have a well-orchestrated herd system to protect their pride from potential threats, often preventing what would otherwise be easy kills. Take a look at this video and you'll see an enthusiastic lioness keeping an eye on the pride of zebra in a field. But as usual, one of the zebra lookouts happened to notice the intruder inching closer, sending the whole pack into the sprint of their lives. As the lioness manages to close in on the baby zebra, it suffers one last surprise, a sharp kick to the face, which completely throws it off its game and forces it to give up the whole thing. That's probably not how the whole thing went in her head. Perhaps most surprisingly, there have been many reports of zebras killing lions as a result of this. Apparently, the sharp kick to the head often results in the lion's broken jaw, leading to the eventual starvation of the cat. So I guess any lion who tries to prey on a zebra is liable to discover they messed with the wrong stripy horse. Number 11, kangaroo versus ram. While they may only exist in Australia, just about everybody knows that kangaroos are unpredictable and extremely dangerous animals, so this video probably won't come as a surprise to most. It most definitely came as a surprise to the kangaroo, though this ram happened to have unknowingly trespassed on the kangaroo's prized land and quickly found itself on the receiving end of the roo aggression. Every few moments, the kangaroo launches toward the ram, as if threatening its very presence on this land. But against all the odds, the ram just refuses to move. In fact, it takes great pride in the fact that it just won. Eventually, the fight moves to a larger field, where the pair once again stand off in a war of territory. When the kangaroo finally bounces off, the ram decides to follow behind, presumably to make its point even clearer. This is admittedly one of the more unusual matchups that you'll ever see in nature. But clearly neither of these animals has any interest in backing down or giving up. So you can probably imagine where this fight went after the end of the video. I doubt they went to get a drink and become friends for some reason. Number 10. Bunny vs. Snake. There's one constant in nature, no matter the situation or the species. Hell hath no fury like a concerned mother. And apparently rabbit mothers are incredibly badass, perhaps even trained in some kind of martial arts. I mean, there's really no way of knowing this black snake believed that it had hit the jackpot in finding an abandoned nest of baby rabbits. But after he got himself coiled around his future targets, things went horribly wrong. When Mama Rabbit returns, she immediately launches onto the snake and begins her incredible quest for vengeance. In the incredible fight, the rabbit eagerly starts to fight the snake, pulling it back repeatedly to teach it a few more lessons. But perhaps the greatest moment comes near the end, when the rabbit delivers one of the most perfect kung fu kick backflips I've ever seen. Suffice to say, the snake managed to escape the rabbit's grip, but the rabbit quickly followed, ensuring that escape was all but impossible. Given their peaceful prey reputation, you never expect the rabbit to be the one delivering such a brutal beatdown on a snake. But clearly this is what happens when you put a mother's baby bees in harm's way. You don't want to mess with Mama Bunny. Number 9. Spider vs. Wasp. If you're someone with a deathly fear of spiders, feel free to look away for now. Although you may miss out on an animal that is surprisingly one of the big spider killers of the animal kingdom. Wasps, more specifically, the spider wasp. While everybody knows that spiders mostly like to feed on flies, they're also known to enjoy the occasional wasp. But there's one wasp that doesn't quite go down so easy: the spider wasp. In fact, this insect often manages to turn the tables on its unsuspecting predator. After paralyzing the spider with its large stinger, the wasp will drag the arachnid back to its nest, where it will lay an egg into the spider's abdomen. The spider will then become a host to the young wasp, which feeds on the inside of the arachnid's body before breaking free as an adult wasp. So not the easy meal the spider expected. This, admittedly, is one of the more brutal table-turning incidents of the animal kingdom. There aren't many animals or insects that will use another animal's still-breathing body as a host for its young. That actually sounds more like something from a sci-fi horror movie. Number 8. Jaguar vs. Crocodile. Conventional logic says that you probably shouldn't go picking a fight with a crocodile. But that same logic also says that you shouldn't pick a fight with a jaguar, or you know what. Just don't fight with nature. How about that? Of all the world's big cats, the jaguars are incredibly impressive given their eagerness to hunt in the water. For instance, take this video, which shows a jaguar hunting for some kind of food in the water. In any other circumstance, the crocodile would be considered the de facto winner of just about any predator's prey combination. Jaguar diet consists of upwards of 85 species, more than 85 species of different animals. And yet, when the jaguar spots the crocodile sitting peacefully on an island in the middle of the water, it decides to pursue the crocodile and get a free meal. Against all the odds, the jaguar actually manages to sneak up behind the croc, launching onto it and subduing it before it can even get to the water. And while the crocodile does admirably fight back, it's no good this jaguar has won. This is one of nature's strangest mashups, but clearly the jaguar won fair and square. This is a masterful takedown of one of the most notoriously aggressive predators on the planet. And while I wouldn't want to chew through those scales, I hope they enjoyed it. Number 7. Giraffe vs. 2 lions. Giraffes are magnificent animals, so elegant, so graceful. But did you know that they're also incredibly dangerous? Apparently, they have such a strong kick that it could kill a lion and knock off some precious limbs simultaneously. That's an impressive kick. This video shows what happened when one innocent giraffe found itself targeted by not one but 2 aggressive lions. While the giraffe does its best to escape the relentless pursuit of the lions, it's futile. Eventually, the giraffe is forced to take action when one of the lions launches itself right toward it, refusing to slow down. the giraffe just barrels right through, knocking the lion down with one of those strong legs. And it seems to work. After receiving just one of those harsh stops, the lion appears to recognize that the whole thing is utterly futile and doesn't get up again. Success. Clearly, the giraffe is a much stronger animal than anyone really gives it credit for. I mean, how many animals can you name that could survive a run-in with two lions by basically stomping it to the ground, or they could kill a lion and knock his head off with a single kick? That's a pretty small club, I imagine. Number 6. Stag vs. Bison. Deer and stag are widely considered the ultimate prey animals, popular with just about every major predator. Apparently, it's even true of the bison, especially if this video is anything to go by. It's time for stag versus bison, folks. Ding ding. When this bison notices the stag and his family enjoying a peaceful day in the wild, he decides it's an excellent opportunity for a little intimidation. Unfortunately for him, the stag is more than willing to stand up for its family, threatening right back. The bison comes around once again, sending another clear message to the stag, who immediately launches into attack mode, charging forward with its horns pointed toward the bison. Thankfully, the situation doesn't escalate the bison, recognizing that the stag has effectively called its bluff, and one decides to back down and move on peacefully. Guess those horns come in handy. Had this bison decided to intimidate a deer, this whole situation would have gone very differently. But instead he happened to stumble upon the best stag father in all the land. How unfortunate. No doubt he had to return to his own family with some shame. But you know what? He deserves that for instigating an unnecessary fight. Number 5. Chimps versus raccoon. Of all the primates on our planet, chimps are easily the most difficult. They seem to thrive on starting fights or just generally being a pain in the ass. Thankfully, we now know that they're not just like this to humans. Raccoons apparently are also victims. This video shows a small group of chimps reacting to a raccoon that happened to find its way into their enclosure at the St. Louis Zoo. Naturally, the chimp's first reaction is confusion, followed by the instinct to basically just torture this mystery guest for a while. And that's exactly what they do. The footage shows the chimps throwing the raccoon around, poking it endlessly, and just generally being jerked to the poor thing. Eventually, the raccoon finds a hole to escape, but the chimps refuse to let him leave, pulling him back. Naturally, the raccoon grows hostile, lashing out at the monkeys and sending them leaping away. You don't cross a raccoon. Eventually, the raccoon managed to escape the enclosure, but only after it began lashing out at the bullying chimps. And honestly, who can blame the little guy? These chimps were just acting like jerks. If it were a skunk, the whole place would have stunk like a sewer, that'd show him. Number 4. Lion vs. Baboon. So you'll all know that the lion is the king of the jungle. But how many of you know that baboons are major killers of leopard and lion cubs? That is absolutely true. Apparently, these species have a long rivalry in the animal kingdom. But we just pretend that the Lion King is real. Instead, it's happier. This video shows one of these epic battles between a lioness and a baboon. Presumably, the baboon found the lioness's cubs unattended and began preparing to kill and eat them only to be caught. And as we've said over and over, an angry mother is never a good thing. Soon the whole pride of lions comes out to help find, catch, and kill the baboon as an act of group vengeance. Apparently, lions are very much like the mafia. It's a family affair. This baboon clearly wasn't thinking when he attempted to kidnap and eat the lion cubs. Eventually, the lion was able to capture and kill the baboon in what must be the ultimate act of revenge for an enraged mother. At least it was for Academy Award winner Sally Field in the 1996 psychological thriller Eye for an Eye. There's a reference you don't hear every day. Number 3. Wolves vs. Bears. In 1995, Yellowstone National Park reintroduced gray wolves to its natural wildlife. Over 2 decades later, that single decision has kicked up a whole new conflict for resources with the park's grizzly bears. While the poor elk calves have suffered more than anybody, this conflict has seen tragedy on all sides. The question of who exactly is the wrong opponent varies from instant to instant, but it seems both fighters have their benefits. Grizzlies are more powerful, but wolves have sheer numbers on their side. However, one wins more often than the other. It seems no matter how many times wolves pick fights with the grizzlies, they just can't seem to win. One witness claims to have seen a single grizzly taking on 24 wolves at once, controlling the situation effortlessly. That's the kind of energy I think we all wish we had, right? GBE grizzly bear energy. Despite their continued struggle to win against the grizzlies, The wolves just won't give up on their quest to be the strongest predator in Yellowstone. They're not succeeding, but I always give kudos to people who dedicate their lives to delusion. It's the best way to live your life, says me, a 16-time Academy Award-winning Olympian. Number 2. Pelican vs. Seagull. Look, nobody likes sharing food. If you wanted what I ordered, you should have ordered it. I won't apologize, Dylan. Sorry, got a bit personal there. Where was I right? Birds. Also, they don't like to share their food, and we have a video. Just for the record, I was right not to share my food with Dylan, though. The video shows a group of pelicans receiving a free meal of fish from what looks to be a restaurant or store of some kind. However, this act of generosity is soon disrupted by the arrival of a seagull who is immediately outraged over what he deems to be unfair or preferential treatment. So his instincts lead him to try and forcibly steal some fish out of the pelican's mouth. How does that work out? Not well. The pelican holds onto that fish as if his life depends on it, and when 2 other pelicans join in, the seagull naturally hurries away. The seagull really thought that he could just turn up and steal a meal right out of the pelican's mouth. Nice try, bud. When it comes to free food, there are no rules. First come, first serve. Amy, wait, man, I have a lot of food. Beefs with people. There's a future video idea. Actually, number 1, stoat versus rat. If an animal decides it's going to eat you, there are really only 2 options. Lay down and just take it, or fight back and refuse to die. Most humans just go for the first one because it burns fewer calories. But some animals would rather fight to the death. This video battle royale between an aggressive stoat and a particularly feisty rat. After spotting the rat in the grass, the stoat wastes absolutely no time in leaping on it. What follows is a surprisingly energetic brawl that sees the 2 animals rolling around in the grass and on the road. But just as it seems that the stoat has won the fight, the rat begins fighting back with some strength, giving as good as it gets. Unfortunately, the video ends sharply, so we don't know who won the fight. Feel free to make up your own ending. Have fun, as all predators seem to do this. Don't really thought the rat would just lay down and accept its death. No chance this rat was not going down without a fight, even if that meant it would break every bone in its own body. Mad respect for that rat. Disney didn't have the cojones to feature a stone attack in Reddit, but maybe in a sequel. Which of these fights do you think was the most misjudged? Let us know in the comments. See you next time.